Keep it going for your next storyteller, Alethea Black.
You pronounced my name perfectly, which is not easy to do. I appreciate it. So, what better place to finish writing my book, I thought, than my grandmother's old abandoned house near the end of a cul-de-sac street where I didn't know anyone and no one knew me. My grandmother had Alzheimer's, so she had been living with my uncle for the past few years and wouldn't be there in person. But I loved the idea of being somewhere that was, finishing the book somewhere that was filled with happy childhood memories and suffused with her spirit. Now, I always do everything at the very last minute, so I could have left at any time during the day, but I didn't leave until 10 o'clock at night, meaning I got to my Nana's house at about 2 in the morning, and I knew immediately that something was wrong. The screen door was kind of hanging at an angle, and it was off one of its hinges, and the front door, when I tried the knob, was unlocked. But the human brain is a marvelous rationalization machine, or at least my brain is. So I said, oh, well, the wind must have knocked the screen off its hinge, and the last person who was here forgot to lock the door when they left. But as soon as I entered the house, my fear level notched up a bit because of the very loud, very unpleasant noise. And I followed the noise to the back of the house and found this old TV that was playing static at a volume so high as to be otherworldly. And I tried to turn the TV off, and it stayed on. And no matter how many times I turned it on and off and on and off, it remained on. So, no problem, said my brain. Obviously, some lightning hit the power grid, and the TV turned on in some special other way. And you're going to have to turn it off in some special other way. And ultimately, unplugging it did the trick. So the next order of business, I'd just been in the car for 4 hours, was to use the bathroom. But when I went in the bathroom, there was no water in the toilet. And in fact, at the bottom of the toilet, where the water should have been, there was 2 inches of blood. So I said, okay. Obviously, some animal died in the plumbing system. No problem, I'll just use the toilet downstairs. But when I got downstairs, there was blood in that toilet too. Now, at this point, did I think that there were some cultish squatters performing sacrificial rites in my grandmother's abandoned house? Or that some creepy neighbor had murdered his wife and tried to destroy the evidence? No, I did not. Not consciously, anyway. Consciously, I said, oh, right. If an animal died in the plumbing system, it would affect both toilets, obviously. So I tried to keep calm and carry on, and I brought in my bags and changed into my pajamas and got into bed and did everything that anyone who's ever watched a horror movie knows I should do. And in keeping with a horror movie, there came a moment in the night when I reached out toward the nightstand and my hand landed on the longest, sharpest pair of scissors I had ever seen. And at that point, I actually started to panic because it became clear to me that the last person who had been in the house before he was murdered had realized that he was in danger and had put this pair of scissors next to the pillow. So I said, okay, maybe I should pray the rosary now. And I didn't have any rosary beads on me, but I knew that my Nana would have multiple beads throughout the house. The only problem was, by this point, I was afraid that the killers or the squatters or whatever, the squatty killers, were maybe in the house with me. So as I lay there contemplating my own death, I thought, God, this is really a bad story. After all we've been through together, to be murdered in my grandmother's house with a pair of scissors, I am rejecting this plot on its literary merits. And furthermore, to be killed in this place that still smells like my Nana, that has that kind of nutmeg, Special K Nana smell, that would be so wrong. And I just cannot believe that this is my story. And more to the point, I do not want this to be my story. It was about then that I heard the footsteps in the backyard. And that's when I really lost it. And I jumped up and immediately called my uncle. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yes, the killers are closing in. Your death is imminent. Don't leave the house or anything. Call your uncle. But I called my uncle and I said, Uncle Carl, the TV was playing really loud static and there's blood in all the toilets and there's a killer in the backyard. Call me. Because, of course, my uncle didn't answer the phone because my uncle goes to bed at about 9:30. So when my uncle called me back the following morning, I don't know how I got through the night. I have no memory of any actual sleep. He explained that he had put the TV on a timer to keep the thieves away, because we all know crooks are afraid of TVs. And he'd filled the toilets with antifreeze. And the footsteps in the backyard were Woody, the neighborhood woodchuck. And the whole time he was talking, I just kept thinking, oh, thank God, I am so glad that was not my story. And that's my story.